Hi, I'm Dr. Avis Williams, the proud superintendent of NOLA Public Schools right here at ELAN Academy, and this is Voices of Future Leaders! Well, greetings. This is Dr. Avis Williams, the proud superintendent of NOLA Public Schools, and this is Voices of Future Leaders. And I'm so excited. I'm here at ELAN Academy and have some amazing scholars plus a very special guest with us today. And you all know that when we talk about Voices of Future Leaders, one thing that I always emphasize is that you guys are leaders now. And that's why it's so important that we amplify your voices and that we give you a space to be able to give us your perspective, you know, on the community, on your school, on young people. And I'm really, really excited to be able to hear from each and every one of you. And so we're going to start over here with Arshel. And when you introduce yourself, you just tell us your name and your grade. And I'm really curious about one other thing. And that is, what is your superpower? You know, what is that one thing that you do better than anybody that makes you you? So we'll start off with Arshel and we'll end with our special guest. And go for it, Arshel.
My name is Arshel Barnes, and I'm in 8th grade. And my superpower is just being myself, because I could be myself more than anybody else can be me.
Nobody can be you like you. I love it. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning, Dr. Williams. My name is Jermaine Davis. I'm in 6th grade, and my superpower is I have a musical gift. I have perfect pitch. You can play a note, and I can tell you exactly what it is.
Wow, perfect pitch. And is that something that you learned over years, or how did you get that?
It's honestly a gift from God.
I love it.
I really can't explain it. It must have just... I grew up in the church, so I would always hear music, and I just learned to remember the notes.
Okay, so coming soon, Voices of Future Leaders, the musical. Soon, okay. Myson, how are you this morning?
My name is Myson LaFrance. I'm in 6th grade, and I've heard that my superpower is public speaking.
Oh, nice.
Cause I've heard that I do public speaking very, very well. Like I'm like an actual what's the word?
Public speaker?
Public speaker, yes.
I love it. And I know you're currently the acting class president.
Yes.
And I know you get a chance to speak in that role too, right?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes,
I love it. Very good. And rounding out our student guests. Hey, Raylyn.
My name is Raylyn Bingham. I'm in the 2nd grade, and my superpower is self-love.
Oh, now that is a phenomenal superpower. I'm so glad to hear you say that. And you're our youngest guest today. And how profound, self-love as a superpower. I can't wait to hear more about that. And now to our very special guest. How are you this morning, Sevetri?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sevetri Wilson-Taylor, and I am a tech entrepreneur and author, someone that's truly committed to my community and just giving back and being present. I would say that my superpower, because I think that is the question today, would be I execute. Like people come to me, and when they know they want and need to get something done, they're like, oh, she'll get it done.
I love that. You make things happen.
Make things happen.
I love it. And I can't wait to hear more about the work that you've done and the amazing accomplishments that you've made. And it's an honor to have you here as a guest with us today. So thank you all so very much. So we're going to dive in, y'all. And this is airing on Election Day. So this is a big year in our community, in our country. And, you know, one of the things that I oftentimes think about with our young people is, what would you do differently if you were in charge of the world? You know, we make a lot of decisions for you, but I'm convinced that you all absolutely deserve a seat at the table, and we need to hear more about what your thoughts are. So we're going to start with you, Arshel. First of all, you're not old enough to vote yet, but let's start off by talking about the importance of voting, if you think it's important or not. And then if you were in charge, what would you do differently?
I think voting is important because you want somebody that's strong and dependable to lead your country. And something I would do if I was leading the country is for homeless people or people that live in poverty with low income, I would definitely add more homeless shelters and like more opportunities for people that live in poverty.
Gotcha. Oh, I love that. You know, one of the things that always strikes me is just the level of empathy from our young people, to be able to think about people outside of yourself, outside of your family. I love that. Myson, now you're already leading within your school. Now, if you had a larger territory to lead, what would you do differently?
All right. So first of all, what I would do is I would reduce taxes and use the tax money that we already have for things like roads, homeless shelters, like Michelle said. What was your name again? Arshell. That's what I meant. Arshell. And I would probably try and use a tax money that we already have to like fundraise hospitals, schools, so we can afford more appliances. Things like computers, better water fountains, and etc.
I love that. Shifting those tax dollars so that we're helping people in need. Yeah. Yes. Wow. And I know, Sevetri, with the work that you do, you mentioned raising money or shifting funds. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you've done around fundraising and the tech world?
Yes. So a lot of my work has been concentrated. Absolutely. So a lot of my work has been concentrated around how do we take just dated services and utilize technology to deliver innovation and innovative solutions. And so my first company, Resilia, we did just that. We raised $50 million in venture capital. We essentially were trying to work with nonprofits and agencies and grassroots organizations and these large funders, so large philanthropic organizations, and help them decide, one, where they give their money to, and then how do they spend that money more equitably. And so when those organizations receive that money, then what are the tools that they need to use in order to execute upon their mission, right? So that they can have bigger outcomes than what they traditionally would have.
I love it. That your brilliance. I'm struck. That is so awesome. We were talking earlier about social media. So I know with you being in the tech world, obviously you're familiar with social media and do some work with artificial intelligence and that type of thing. So I want to pivot with our young people and just learn a little bit more about your engagement with technology, particularly around social media. We were talking earlier about what's the age to start using social media, because there are so many different platforms and they change. So let's start off with you, Jermaine. What do you think about social media use at your age, or what age is appropriate?
I think that at my age, I am mature enough to know not to talk to people, and because people, you never know what their intentions are. So I think I'm old enough not to talk to people and to know what to watch and the right thing to do.
Okay, and that's important because people could be someone other than who they say they are on social media, right? And when I think about Raylan, you're in second grade, and so you're our youngest scholar here today. But you were born with these being like second nature to go on a cell phone. How does technology work in your world? Do you think you're old enough to use social media, and why?
I think I'm old enough because, like, when you play like online games, don't like talk to people. Say, do you want to be friends? Don't say yes. Say no, cause you never know. It might be somebody older than you behind the screen.
Yep, that is so true. So just be smart and probably some adult supervision, right? I mean, do you get free reign to use social media now, or are you supervised?
Sometimes supervised, sometimes not.
I love it. Yeah. Well, that's how it works with parenting. We can't see everything. And so I'm glad to know that you're smart enough to think that through when someone's trying to friend you on social media. And, with technology changing as quickly as it has, how do you keep up? And what advice do you have for our young people in terms of navigating technology?
Yes. So my biggest advice would be to think about not just being consumers of technology, but how can you actually think about enhancing your skill sets to actually build technology, right? And so when you think about Mark Zuckerberg, who is like the CEO of Facebook and Instagram, and all these other guys, they actually limit the use of social media to their kids. Now, they built it, so why do they limit the use to their kids but push it down everybody else's kids' throats? It's because they want their kids to not be constantly absorbing technology 24/7, but they wanted them to think about ways that they could essentially build something without being influenced by what is in their hand, right? And so we talked a little bit about artificial intelligence, AI, and the impact of AI. Huge impact on schools, right? A lot of schools are kind of nervous about AI because it's really, really smart, right? But I see AI as opportunity, right, to enhance and increase what we consider just like your human capacity. So everything that you have to do day in and day out. What if you actually had someone that, or something, a technology that could like help you and make you enhance your skill sets around your work? Maybe there are words you've never been introduced to. They can increase your vocabulary, right? And so utilizing it in a way that's actually beneficial and proactive. And so that's how I think about technology and how we should be thinking about technology as it relates to our youth.
I love what you said about being proactive too. And that's really interesting. So the people who are creating all of these tools, they are implementing, some barriers, some guardrails within their homes. And I think that's necessary. As young people, you guys are in school, you're using all of these technology tools. But what are some things that you all have learned during the course of your schooling? Not just this year, but what are some things that you've learned that you would pass along to students who are younger than you? We're going to start with okay, Jermaine, go ahead. What have you learned, and what would you like to share?
So students in lower school, I think that when you come to middle school, you should always be prepared for your classes because you never know what's coming next. You always just try to be prepared and have a good mindset to learn from other people, teachers, and your peers.
Do you think there was a big difference between elementary and middle school?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to explain it, the difference, they give us, so people in a middle school perspective, I think they give us a lot more responsibilities because we're older and we're maturing.
Mm-hmm. Is that why you were saying you wanted more homework earlier? Wasn't that you?
I didn't say I wanted more homework. I said I wanted to be challenged.
Oh, okay. My bad. I heard that wrong.
Yeah.
No, but I appreciate what you're saying, though. So you can definitely see where you have to grow up a little bit because you have more responsibility in middle school.
Yeah, middle school is really count. It really depends on what high school you get into and what college. It'll follow you the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Raylin, what do you think? You're in second grade, but I know you've learned a lot in your schooling. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is
what would you share to someone younger than you? Like if you were getting ready to talk to someone just entering kindergarten, would you have any advice?
yeah, be good. At recess, don't play with any kids that be throwing rocks, hitting people.
Yeah. Be smart about making friends, right? Yeah, that's important. Because that's one of the things about school is the social aspect of it. And I know you have lots of friends, but you have to make good decisions about who you hang around, huh? Yeah. And so, Myson, as the acting class president, what have you learned? Let's talk about it from the standpoint of leadership. What have you learned from a student leader perspective that you would share with someone younger than you?
So what I've learned by being a leader and acting class president and being in the school in general is that like Jermaine said, there isn't really much difference between the middle schoolers and the elementary school scholars because I think the reason why the middle school scholars are being a little bit more rambunctious than the elementary school started because right now they're older and getting more responsibility and they think that they're older and don't have to deal with all these things. That's why the elementary school stars are a little bit more obedient because they don't really know that much better. No offense.
I agree.
So you're thinking that as scholars get older, they become more rambunctious because they know more, or they think they know more?
They think they know.
I agree.
Okay, all right. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, so Arshel, you're our senior scholar here. You're in 8th grade, which means you're off to high school really soon. So, what are some lessons that you've learned during the course of your schooling that you would pass on to someone younger?
Definitely being proactive and reactive, because everything doesn't need a reaction. Like, say you're in school and someone just tells you something that you don't like, just ignore them, because you have to be in the school with them for the rest of the school year. And you just don't want to have no bad energy with nobody, because that's going to make your school year harder.
I love that. No bad energy with anybody. I absolutely love that. So, yeah, that's really good advice. And it all kind of goes together. I mean, making good friends, being a leader, and, making sure that you understand the level of maturity that's required of you. And so with that being said, we're going to begin to wrap up here. And I want to talk about a call to action. And I'm going to start off with you, Sevetri. When we think about where we are as a community and even as a country, I'd like for you, if you could just articulate what would be your call to action to our young people. And then scholars, we're going to let each of you answer this question as well. What would be your call to action to your peers, to make our world, our community a better place? So we'll start off with you, Ms. Taylor.
Absolutely. I think that my call to action for each of you would be to, one, continue to do what you're doing, right? Because being involved is so important. But how can you become even more involved in other things that may take you out of your comfort zone, right? And so we talked earlier about some things about adulthood is doing things that you may be uncomfortable with, but is necessary. And so as we kind of approach the election, and you're all not old enough to vote, but when you think about MLK and Bernice King, they were out there with their dads at your ages, and they were super involved. And so what are other things that you can do to get involved that as you prepare to become voters, as you prepare to go to high school, as you prepare to really continue on with your life? And for the community as a whole, it's our focus, it's our responsibility to look out for you all and to prepare you all for what is to come in the future. And so my call to action for the community would be just that, to also get involved and ensure that each one teaches one, right, as they say, and that we heavily ensure that we keep our pulse on what's going on in your lives so that you can have even better lives than we lead today.
I love that, because our goal should be to make life easier for them and the generations that come behind them. Yes. I love that. And so scholars, we'll start with you, Jermaine. What is your call to action? We've had this robust conversation, and what message would you send to young people?
I think we should all try to be more respectful to teachers, because honestly, it's one of them and multiple of us, and I don't feel like, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I don't think they get paid enough to deal with what they have to deal with. Same thing goes for the janitors. Like, those janitors, how do I say this disrespectfully?
It's a tough job, huh?
The janitors are older, and I don't think they should have to clean up after everybody else, especially if you have common sense and know to clean up after yourself, and then don't do it.
Yeah, I love that. Ooh, Jermaine, you said a lot there. First of all, never miss an opportunity to thank a teacher. And I really appreciate you lifting up how important our teachers are and the fact that they deserve respect. And all of the adults who help take care of your school and help take care of you deserve that respect. So thank you so much for that call to action. Arshel, we're going to let you close us out with this one, okay? So I'm going to go to Myson, and then we'll go to Raylan. What's your call to action?
My call to action in this school is basically the behavior of our scholars, because like Jermaine said, our scholars aren't really respecting our teachers and our other supervisors as much as they should be. I think that scholars should respect their teachers more, because at the end of the day, they're choosing to teach us. They're choosing to try and help us learn and develop. Because if nobody wanted to be a teacher, how will we learn anything? If there are no teachers, how will we even know what 1 + 1 is? If there are no teachers, how will we know to take care of ourselves? Since we have these teachers, we know how to take care of ourselves, and we know what the right and wrong thing to do is. So I think that scholars should just so I think scholars should just respect their peers and teachers more often.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and you're right. You know, teachers create a lot of possibilities for many of us, and I'm so glad to hear you all lift your teachers up and praise them. Hey, Raylyn, what's your call to action?
My call to action is the janitors really have to clean up after you, because somebody in my class, they had a blue crayon. It was all over the floor.
Oh, no.
They didn't clean it up at all.
Did someone step on it?
No,
Well,
they
that's-
just did it.
Yeah. And so they didn't clean it up themselves. What would
Like-
you have done?
I would me and my friends gathered over there and started cleaning it up, and the person was just over there playing with her friend.
Yeah. And so, you know, your call to action could be to help people, right? I mean, to help them pick up after themselves or to lead the way. I love that, because even though she didn't pick it up, it didn't mean that everybody else had to step over it. Someone else could pick it up. So that's leadership, Raylyn. I love that. I love that. All right. So Arshel, 8th grader, going to high school. And again, you've learned so much, I know, in your schooling, but what is your call to action to young people your age and younger?
I think we all on the same page about definitely being big about respect. You got to respect your elders and definitely clean up after yourself, because that's unresponsible. And my call to action, I would bring the community together, have more events for the kids, because the kids is a big part of our world. And because they have shootings going on, people getting killed in the same community. And I just want to bring the community together, because we don't want to see our fellow black folks getting killed by black people over petty stuff or just something
I agree.
that could be resolved.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about something that happened in Georgia yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was on the news.
Yeah, 2 students and 2 teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
their
and I'm so glad you brought that up about the community, because, you know, when you think about a tragedy such as that happening, I mean, obviously it can happen anywhere. But the community coming together, working together to solve problems, whether we're talking about poverty, homelessness, which you all have mentioned, and of course, anything around violence. So thank you, Arshel, for that, because I do think that's important. The community needs to come together. Our goal should be to make sure that we're taking care of you and that we're leaving the world a better place for you. And with that said, you guys have been amazing, and thank you so much, Ms. Taylor, for sharing
Thank you.
your
Thank you
expertise
all.
with us, and for spending a little bit of time with us. And you know, as young people, you guys have a lot of growing to do, and you're already super bright, super smart, and I'm just honored to be able to lift your voices up for this episode of Voices of Future Leaders. And Raylyn, what you got? What else you got? I see you want to say something more. Do you want to say something more, Raylyn? Go for it.
See, I'm the people who been shooting everywhere. The police still haven't found them.
Yeah, and you know, as adults, our goal is to make sure that you are protected. You know, in the same way that you talked about teachers needing respect and teachers' jobs being difficult, police officers have very difficult jobs too, and we do know that they're working hard to keep us safe. But guess what? We have a responsibility too, and that's why I thought it was important for you guys to give your call to action. You know, what are we responsible for within ourselves, and just to share with other people. So thank you guys so much for your thoughtfulness and intentionality around just thinking about voices of future leaders and what it means to be a leader at your age. And it's a wrap, y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you all for watching and tuning in. And scholars, I want you to know that I see you, I hear you, and I love you. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Tune in for the next Voices of Future Leaders.